Good morning and welcome to the podcast for Jackson Madison County Schools. You're listening to For the District. I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for Jackson Madison County Schools. This morning, we're visiting with the head coach of the Northside High School football team, Woodrow Lowe Jr. Coach, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited being here again.
Now, for the folks who are listening to this on the radio, they can't see what's going on, but between you and me, there is a trophy, and it is the Madison County Commissioners Cup. We're going to get into that in a moment because I'm sure that was a great moment for you in your first year in Jackson Madison County. So setting the scene for folks, it is football season. If people follow you on social media, they've seen the Northside schedule. They've probably seen our friends at Forever Communications put out some of their promotions for the football schedule that they're going to broadcast, and we'll get into that in a moment. So although it is football time, it's also volleyball time in high school. It's also boys and girls golf in high school or cross country. My first question for you, Coach, as families prepare for the school year, why should a young person consider playing a sport?
I mean, I think, all across America, people look for business people, bright business people look for people who've been athletes because they've developed certain types of leaderships. They know how to be team building. They know how to do a lot of things. They get a lot of characteristics of team building, that foundation up under them. So that's for one. Particularly at Northside High School, I think that our coaches do an excellent job as far as, building and developing character and all of that stuff that they need. So, I mean, if I feel like you have one opportunity to be in high school sports, be in high school, most people, probably 97% of people who play high school sports never get opportunity to play again. So you have 4-year window to play sports, and you never ever get that opportunity again. I tell kids that all the time. I'm like, you got 4 years to play football. Take advantage of it and enjoy these bonds, and you'll realize that, these things are going to change your life for the future.
Woodrow Lowe Jr. is the head football coach at Northside High School. He's also athletic director out there on campus. And expanding the conversation for a moment, some folks aren't athletically inclined or don't care for sports. I think there's still something to be said about participating in an extracurricular activity. I think about the junior ROTC class at Liberty Technology High School or the agriculture class at Southside High School. There's welding at Northside and Southside. Skills USA, and for folks who don't know, Skills USA is essentially the national club for students in classes in your career and technical classes. Just, Coach, the importance of doing something while you're in high school. I mean, it's very important.
Oh, yeah. You need to do something. And, I mean, the day with social media and, you have the smartphones and kids get addicted to those smartphones, you can separate yourself from the pack by actually doing more, finding something, doing a skill that you want to do as an adult, do it in high school so you can catapult your career.
And I promise we're going to talk about football, but let me go ahead. I want to go ahead and talk about this so I don't forget it. This past season, Deputy Superintendent Dr. Ricky Catlett and our Chief Operations Officer, Jason Bridgman, being directed by the superintendent to start the JMAC Awards. It was the award ceremony for our athletes. Thinking about that event that happened in May, and for folks like you, whether they're football coaches or cross-country coaches, thinking about doing well, earning points, as you think back on the JMAC Awards, how exciting was it for you and your kids?
Oh, man, that was awesome. I mean, I think, getting to see Dr. King having that event and, like I say, Dr. Catlett and Mr. Bridgman pushing all of that through, I think that was phenomenal for the student athletes in the district to be highlighted in that capacity. It was done first class professional, so that was exciting to see.
Our superintendent, Dr. Marlon King, number one, he believes in treating his employees well. So if you're looking for a job, visit jmcss.org/jobs. if you're interested in a career in education. There's also support staff. Number 2, Superintendent Dr. Marlon King believes in celebrating students. You think about this, the student athletes at Southside High School who competed at the state level, and he held the bash, the Champions Bash, celebrating those students. But also there's the superintendent's ACT 30 and Up Club. Those students have been celebrated for the past 2 or 3 years with a banquet with their parents attending, at the Doubletree, celebrating those students for academic success. When you think about our superintendent, someone you've known in 2 different districts, what things stand out to you when you think about our superintendent?
I mean, excellence. I mean, he has a commitment to excellence, which is important, and he's always thinking about ways to make the district better. And I mean, it shows with all of that stuff. And I mean, you see how he highlights, like you say, his employees and super. I mean, and the way he highlights his students overall. I mean, I think it's a testament to what he believes in. So, I mean, I can't say enough good things about him.
We're visiting with Woodrow Lowe Jr. He's the head football coach and athletic director at Northside High School. Coach, what are some of your non-negotiables? I know it takes a lot of different players, a lot of different students to make a team. And I know you got to give some allowances when you're talking about you're dealing with 80 different young people from different backgrounds, bringing those kids together. What do they learn from you, or some non-negotiables, or, some things that, hey, we can concede some things here and there, but there's some non-negotiables moving forward that if you're going to play football at Northside High School, some things you got to get right.
Well, you got to be accountable. My thing is I like to build intrinsically. I like for the kids to, develop from within. I always tell them that I want you to find a sports player and try to emulate them. You know what I mean? The key of good coaches is that they can get kids and they can get them to take ownership of their own self. If I can get you to take ownership of your own future, your own program, that you'll become better. And that's what we push. We try to push kids to be intrinsic thinkers. We sit down with them at the end of the year. We sit down and go over goals. Accountability is the most important thing that we want them to have. You can't be late. You got to show up on time. You gotta do right in class, in school. We want our student athletes to be, when they're in the building, they are the model students. They're the model citizens of the school. And if you think about it, I mean, like, we have 80 kids in the school. We have 80 young men that are in the school. That's almost 1 in 4 males that are playing either football, basketball, baseball, or something. A lot of them play multiple sports. But
what was that number again?
With total in school, we have 238 we have 238 players that play sports in the school building. You got, I know you got close to anywhere from 800 to 1,000 students in the building. You got almost one fourth of them. So if they can be the model students in the school, and if our coaches can push those guys, then we can change the school culture. But as far as non-negotiables go, we got to be accountable for each other. We got to be accountable for ourselves, and we got to do things right.
Woodrow Lowe Jr. is the head football coach and athletic director at Northside High School. We're going to get into the X's and O's in just a minute, but there are those things that I know are important to you that are outside of X's and O's that we wanted to make sure we mentioned. And I know once we start talking football, I might forget to mention those things.
Oh, yeah.
And so after this commercial break, we're going to get into the meat of this conversation, and that's Northside High School football. A year ago, you beat Southside. A year ago, you beat JCM. You beat Liberty Tech. But on the flip side of that, you had some close games that, if you win, maybe your playoff position's a little better.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into those conversations and more on the other side of this break. However, I got to remind you really quickly for all of our stakeholders and parents, the Madison County school system, school coordinated health, wants us to remind you that our school health clinic reopens on Monday, July 15th. So Monday, July 15th, our school health clinic reopens, and it's located on the campus of Jackson Careers and Technology School. Our school health clinic is open from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. And again, it's right there located inside of JCT, Jackson Careers and Technology Elementary School. And so you can visit our website, jmcss.org, for more information, but I do want to let you know. So you think about sick visits, immunization, sports physicals, your well child checkups, lab testing, referrals, all of that, you can get that done at our school health clinic. Our family nurse practitioner, Ashley Hardy, will be happy to see you. And she's worked in the healthcare setting for more than a decade, and she is ready to help out our families and our students as they prepare for the new school year. We're visiting with Woodrow Lowe Jr. He's the head football coach of the Northside High School football team. We have more of that conversation after this break. You're listening to the podcast for Jackson Madison County Schools for the district on JJ 97.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
In an effort to improve literacy rates throughout Jackson and Madison County, and to increase scores across all grades in our community schools, Jackson Madison County students, teachers, and community partners are leaping up for literacy.
One piece of cherry pie.
Today it's my pleasure to read to you How to Catch a Dinosaur.
Today I'm going to read to you a story about the day the fire marshal came to school.
We're encouraging everyone to read 20 minutes every day. And our community partners are excited to assist us in spreading a love for reading throughout the city.
Having your kids see you read and reading to your kids is the utmost important thing to do.
Whether you're aiming to be a superintendent's super reader or simply a parent who wants to see your child leap toward higher scores, join Jackson Madison County Schools as we increase literacy scores throughout the district and grow awareness for the benefits of reading throughout the city.
Children, what do you see?
Leap up for literacy.
We see a brown bear, a red bird.
Sponsored by Jackson Madison County Schools. Welcome back to For the District, the podcast for Jackson Madison County Schools. I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for JMCSS. This morning, we have the pleasure of visiting with Woodrow Lowe Jr. He's the head football coach and athletic director at Northside High School. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Glad to be here.
If you missed, folks, the first half of this episode, we want to remind you, you can visit radio731.com to hear the first half of this conversation. Coach, now let's get into the X's and O's. You win the Commissioners Cup last year. Mm-hmm. You take Northside High School to the state playoffs in your first year. Mm-hmm. So from a surface level, let's stay 50,000 feet. When you think back on last season, some things that come to mind.
Well, going into the season, me first taking over the job, they won one game and they averaged, I think, 4 to 7 points a game. My goal going into the season was I wanted to be competitive. I wanted to be able to compete or at least be in every game. I felt like we were in every game, maybe except two, but the way, we were getting beat by like 30-something points a game, and I wanted to close that gap. I didn't want to really look at wins and losses, but I wanted to catch up on some of that gap. Now, with that being said, I still don't feel like I still feel like we left some stuff on the table. Uh-huh. The biggest problem we had a turnover problem. We turned the ball over 32 times, and we only had 14 takeaways. We outgained our opponent by almost 600 yards total. I think we had 3,200 yards of total offense. And we held our opponents to 2,800. So on paper, that's supposed to be a 7-win season, mm-hmm. But it wasn't because we lost a turnover battle. On the games we lost, we averaged anywhere from 4.5 turnovers a game, which would get you beat. So mm-hmm. That's something that we've been harping on, really hard in the off season. So I think that's the difference in our season. But with that being said, we did accomplish some goals. We won the Commissioners Cup in a hard-fought battle against Southside. We're down. Like I said, we had 4 turnovers the first half. So we were able to battle back, and we did make the playoffs, like you said, and competed in the playoffs. I mean, we were down by 3 points going into halftime, and had a chance. So
When you, and I know we're going to speak about the future, but again, with the Commissioners Cup here on the table, going back to that night, what did it feel like to earn your boys some hardware in your first year?
Oh, it's fun. I mean, I didn't realize how big all of this stuff was. I mean, the Commissioner Cup is a big deal to these kids around here. In the city, everybody in the city is a big deal too. So, and I didn't realize that. And for me to be able to experience that in my first year was big. Like I said, it was hard fought. I mean, you know, all the teams we played to win it were competitive. And I mean, it wasn't a cakewalk. And I mean, Southside came to play. I just take my hat off to our kids for being able to dig down deep and go get it.
So, thinking about the Commissioners Cup, it's this county rivalry between our public schools. Mm-hmm. When I think about the future, diving into the data a little bit, when JCM was closed, Southside was its most competitive in this series. Mm-hmm. In fact, on their roster, Southside had gotten up to 103 kids on the roster at one point.
Wow.
You know, when they were making it to the second and third round of the playoffs. If you watch the data over the last 3 years, the participation rate for the young men at JCM, it's rising. Mm-hmm. Do you kind of feel some pressure that you have to be good now before everybody catches up with you?
Well, we just focus. I always try to look at things intrinsically. We're trying to focus on ourselves now. I mean, I love the fact that the city is getting better. You know what I mean? As a coach, you want everybody around you to become better. So you know, with the emergency of JCM, Coach Gallard going to Liberty. I mean, you know, Narcisse being at Southside. I mean, all of that things are just making the city better, and that's what I'm about. I want everybody to be able to eat, and I want to earn it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I want to earn it. You know, and I mean we will, but I mean all the coaches in the district are really good guys. They're really good men, and they're really good coaches.
In your locker room, is there a chart where you kind of have your milestones throughout the year, or is it okay? Is it okay for a player in your locker room to talk about, hey, I want to win state? Or, I mean, is that kind of like, hey, guys, let's take it one game at a time? What's your mindset as a coach in that regard?
We have a pyramid. We have a goal chart, you know, and the top on that chart is win the state championship. You know, we always try to, we're going to shoot for the stars. I mean, you know, and I mean, win the district, you know, win the region, win the district, win the city, you know what I mean, and then win that first game. So we focus on week by week, but at the end of the day, we still have goals, and we talk about those goals, like I said, at the end of the year.
Now, while there is a jamboree, the beginning of the regular season is August 23rd. Northside will take on Crockett County. Coach, that's a home game. Mm-hmm. I would imagine you're excited after having all those road games last year. Yeah. This year, 4 of your first 5 games, it looks like, are at home. Yeah. How big is it?
Oh, it's big. It's big. I mean, that's exciting. I mean, we get to open some of those teams that we lost to on the road. Mm-hmm. You know, taking over a job and you on the road for early, that's hard. That's not easy. And you know, and Crockett County was that's a hard place to win, especially when they were opening up their new stadium. So, but it's good to be at home.
We're visiting with Woodrow Lowe, Jr., head football coach and athletic director at Northside High School. Coach, you talk about the pyramid in the locker room, this chart. In order for you to hit those milestones and your goals, who are some of the guys that we can expect to hear about this year when you think about many of your stars, I guess some of your players to watch?
Well, we got, I know we are probably our biggest prospect is Javante Smith. He's a junior coming out. You know, has 3 or 4 Power 5 offers.
And say that again, because some people are hearing it for the first time.
Oh, Javante Smith. Yeah.
Right, and what position does he play?
He's a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. He's a junior, so he's a class of 26. So
he's already got offers?
Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Liberty, and maybe a few more I can't think of.
So yes, come out and watch the Northside High School football team. But for folks who are diehard college football fans, certainly worth the price of admission to come to Northside High School to check out that star.
Oh, yeah. Corliss Hudson, he's a running back. He's a senior. Expecting a big year out of him. On the line, we got A.C. Carter, Kenneth Jones, offensive lineman, and Trevor Peterson at center. Defensive line, we got Malachi Nicholson, who's a center. We expect a lot out of him. Our receivers, we got Miles Howard. I got a young man named Caleb Northern, who's always consistent, always does everything he needs to do. And Davion Carruthers, he's another big-time prospect. He'll probably be a big prospect as well. Linebacker, I got a kid that transferred in, Amir Smith. Cornerback, Tegan Transu. So we got some pieces that I feel confident in, and I mean, you know, like I said, this is year 2, so they should understand my expectation a little bit more.
So do we have to wait until August 23rd to see you guys?
We got a couple scrimmages lined up, but
okay.
So I don't know. I don't know if I want everybody to be there.
But your jamboree situation.
Yeah, trying to work on that, trying to find another one. We had one, we kind of fell through, so we're trying to figure out another deal.
But certainly, go ahead, folks, and put the whole month of September, if nothing else, on your calendar, because the heart of that Northside schedule, luckily for Northside, is at home. We're visiting with Woodrow Lowe Jr. He's head coach and athletic director at Northside High School. Coach, I'm thinking back to the Lexington game, okay? That was one of those games where it was exciting, it was back and forth, and you were able to earn a win on the road. I mean, you could jump in a time machine here in West Tennessee and in a year pop out and you say, hey, well, who's good this year? Lexington is going to be one of those schools that you bring up. If you think about your coaching demeanor, do you – and I'm going to use the word gamble in the fact that I remember it was 4th and long and you guys ran the ball, which was just mind-blowing to me because, traditionally if it's 4th and long, you throw the ball. Yeah. You have a very, I guess, unique, very fun – we talked about the stuff kind of like outside of X's and O's in our first conversation. Now, Coach, I'm asking you, how would you describe your coaching style? Is it freewheeling? Do you like to gamble? What is the word there? Creative?
I'll use confident and creative.
Confident, yeah. Because to run the ball on 4th and long is a gamble. I mean, that is mind-blowing. Wow.
Yeah.
So confident is the word you use?
Oh, yeah. And I trust my players. If I have a player come to me like, Coach, I got you.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I look in his eyes and I believe it. He gonna get the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta lean on, the coach. The kids gotta trust you. You gotta trust the kids. So I mean, it was a calculated gamble, and I think it resulted in a touchdown. Yeah. So we were excited.
Now, what do you do as a coach in a program to put yourself in a better position come postseason? You guys went on the road, and I actually remember I watched that game. I wasn't able to make the trip, but I watched that game because Forever Communications carried that game. It was streamed live. I believe you guys traveled to Middle Tennessee, was it?
Yeah, it was Marshall County.
Marshall County. What do you do now to kind of put yourself in a better situation so maybe you earn a home game in the postseason and that you don't have to take on a juggernaut in that first round? What are some very, I don't know, concrete things you can do now to set yourself up, outside of obviously winning the big games, but what are some, how do you work on that part?
Well, we right after the season ends, we do what I call self scout. So we self scout all of the games, all 11 games, and we break them down. We deep dive into the analytics. Like I said, and we try to figure out the why. What do we do good? What do we do so good, and what do we need to get better at? And I'm big on computer technology, artificial intelligence, all that stuff. So we deep dive into the numbers, and we try to keep doing the things that are good and try to correct the things that are bad. And the things that, like I said, told you earlier, the turnover was the difference in in the success of our team. And we hit a lot of areas. We improved in a lot of areas, but we didn't in that area. So just to answer your question, like I said, we just do a deep dive and we just do a lot of study and research, talking to other coaches. I'd reach out to my college buddies, some coaches that are in pro, and I just reach out and be like, okay, what's the answer to this problem? And we go from there.
And for folks who are meeting you through the power of radio for the first time, they may not know your background. They may not know your father's background, and the fact that you've had sons play major college football. We'll get into that on the other side of this commercial break. Do want to remind folks, or let you know for the first time, that WellPoint is hosting a big celebration with the Jackson-Madison County School Health Clinic. This is going to take place on July 29th. July 29th. From 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's going to take place at the School Health Clinic at Jackson Careers and Technology School. That's at 668 Lexington Avenue. They're going to have face painting, balloon artists. There'll be a gaming truck, door prizes, and several resources. So we want to thank our friends at WellPoint who are going to host this, a big, entertaining day. It's going to be a day of health and learning, one big celebration. Thanks to our community partners at WellPoint. Again, July 29th, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the School Health Clinic, and that's located on the campus of Jackson Careers and Technology School, 668 Lexington Avenue, right here in Jackson. We're visiting with head coach Woodrow Lowe Jr. of the Northside High School Tribe. We've got more of that conversation on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Jackson-Madison County Schools and Forever Communications want you to leap up for literacy. Community partners like Miss Tennessee volunteer Jada Brown are increasing literacy across the community by reading 20 minutes every day.
I am reading The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle.
Visit jmcss.org to hear the rest of the book and to discover ways students, individuals, and families can increase literacy across the community.
Welcome back to For the District, the podcast for Jackson-Madison County Schools. I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information, and I have the honor of visiting with Woodrow Lowe Jr., head football coach and athletic director at Northside High School, also the defending champions of the Madison County Commissioners Cup. And Coach was nice enough to bring the trophy back because now we have to get it updated. It's got to say Northside High School, JPD 2023. And of course, if you're not familiar with the Commissioners Cup, we're working with our first responders, and all of our high schools are paired up with a group of first responders. So Northside High School is paired up with Jackson Police Department. Southside High School is paired up with Madison County Fire Department. And there are others, but these have been the winners. So these are ones that I'm going to talk about. Coach, real quick, this may be the first time that people in our community, even though you were on a prior episode, this may be the first time. So in a real lightning round way, your background. You've been a head football coach for?
Head coach for 15. This is year 15.
And you come from a pedigree of sorts, as and we don't mean to name drop, but your father was a standout athlete at the University of Alabama.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer at the University of Alabama, 3-time All-American. He holds a record for tackles for the University of Alabama. So.
Yeah. Well, even today. That's pretty remarkable. Tell us about, well, we talked about your boys on the field, but your sons, some folks who are familiar with your background, maybe you're wondering where your two older boys are playing or involved in now.
Trey, my oldest son, he made he got drafted, well not drafted, but picked up by the Edmonton Eskimos at the CFL, ended up getting cut, but now he has a couple opportunities to coach college Division I football. Awesome. So, and Trey, Kyle, my middle son, he transferred to Georgia State, and he'll be freshman next year. He would be a red shirt freshman next year. So.
Really? That's awesome. And working on academic pursuits.
That's right. He's already graduated, and now he'll be working on his MBA.
That's awesome. We're visiting with Woodrow Lowe Jr., head football coach at Northside High School.
And my youngest one, Wade.
Okay.
My youngest one, Wade. He'll be at high school. He'll be playing quarterback for us at Northside.
Okay. He's going to work his way up.
He got to work his way up.
We talked about Javonte Smith, and folks who follow high school football and college football will have known of his name. The trend in sports is if you have a star, people double team them. And then someone else is the beneficiary of that other guy's spotlight. So in a month or so, when we're reading the newspaper or watching television, some of those names who are going to be able to take advantage of that in a teamwork kind of way.
I think it starts with our quarterback, Quinn Jenkins. Quinn he'll be a junior next year. This is his first time starting, and he'll be able to dish the ball around. I mean, we got a running back in Corliss Hudson. We got receivers in Miles Howard and Day Carruthers, who I think he can get the ball to. So I think it'll be very, very hard to just focus on just Javonte alone. Now he'll take the top off when he get in his hands. He's electric, but we got other guys who are just as explosive.
Just a reminder: Northside High School opens the season on August 23rd at home against Crockett County. Coach Lowe, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Appreciate you guys having me.
We do want to remind you, hey, check out Northside High School on social media. They're on Twitter, they're on Facebook and Instagram. A lot of the promotionals for the schools can be located there. You've been listening to For the District. This is the podcast for Jackson Madison County Schools. It's our opportunity once a week to spotlight the students, teachers, coaches, and programs within the Jackson Madison County school system. We do want to remind you to go back and watch previous episodes. You can do that on our YouTube channel. Just search JMCSS or Jackson Madison County Schools. You can also find us at radio731.com and on Spotify. I'm Greg Hammond saying I hope you have a great Sunday, an excellent week, and we'll see you next time.